3 weeks after we buried my father, strange things started happening in our house. Lights flickering, doors slamming, and whispers calling my name. At first, I thought grief was driving me crazy, until I found the letter Dad left hidden in the garage. It's been 3 weeks since we buried my father, and yet I still expect to hear his boots on the kitchen floor every morning. The house feels wrong now, too quiet, too heavy. Mom barely speaks. I sit at the kitchen table for hours just staring at his chair, still pushed back like he'll sit down any minute. But he doesn't, because Dad is gone. At least, that's what we thought. Hello everyone, might please subscribe our channel for more interesting stories. The funeral was small, just family, a few neighbors, and Dad's business partner, my Uncle Rick. Rick hugged Mom and me at the grave, but something about his eyes made my stomach twist. "I'll take care of everything," he said. "Don't worry about the business. You just focus on grieving." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Something about him felt wrong. The first night after the funeral, I woke up to the sound of footsteps downstairs. I froze. We live in a creaky house, and Dad's boots always made a very distinct sound on the wood floor. And that's exactly what I heard. Step, step, step. My heart thudded. I grabbed my phone and crept to the top of the stairs. The living room light was flickering. And there, in the faint light, Dad's favorite chair was rocking. Slowly, back and forth. I ran back to my room and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Candle, Mom doesn't believe me. "Mom," I heard him. I said over breakfast the next morning. She gave me a tired look. "Sweetheart, I know you miss him, but you're just processing everything. It's normal to imagine things." "No," I insisted. I wasn't imagining it. The chair was moving. The lights. "Enough," she snapped. "We have to stay grounded, Zoe. Your father is gone." Her voice cracked on the last word, and I didn't push her anymore. But I knew what I saw. That night, I had a dream, or maybe it wasn't a dream. I was standing in the garage, and Dad was there. His face was shadowed, but I recognized his work shirt and his strong hands. He pointed to the old red toolbox in the corner. I woke up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding. When I told Mom, she sighed. "You're having grief dreams. That's all." But I couldn't shake the feeling. That afternoon, while Mom was resting, I went to the garage. The toolbox was just where it always was, covered in dust. I opened it, wrenches, pliers, nothing unusual, until I saw an envelope taped under the lid. My name was written on it in Dad's handwriting. Hand shaking, I tore it open. "Zoe, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. But my death wasn't an accident. Someone tampered with my car. I think it was Rick. I've hidden proof, files, recordings, everything. Follow the clues. Don't trust anyone, not even family. Finish what I started." I sat there, staring at the letter, my blood turning cold. "Zoe, what are you doing out here?" I jumped. Mom was standing in the doorway. I handed her the letter. She read it, her face going pale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "It was Rick," I said. Dad knew he was going to do something. Mom sank onto a stool, covering her mouth. "They fought over the company before he died. He said Rick was stealing money." We looked at each other, fear and fury mixing in the air. That night, just as I was falling asleep, I heard it again, the boots. But this time, they weren't in the kitchen. They were in the garage. I grabbed a flashlight and crept downstairs. The garage door creaked as I pushed it open. And there, in the corner, a loose floorboard was sticking up, as if someone had pried it open from below. I knelt down, pulled it free, and found a journal wrapped in an oily rag. As soon as I touched it, The garage light went out. I was left in pitch black. And then I heard a whisper. The journal sat heavy in my lap as I sat cross-legged on my bed. Mom was next to me, still pale from everything we discovered the night before. "Are you ready?" I asked. She nodded. I opened the first page. It wasn't just notes. It was a timeline. Dad had documented everything. Suspicious withdrawals from the company account. Phone calls between Rick and shady suppliers. Threatening text messages Rick had sent late at night. Dad's growing suspicion that his brother might hurt him. At the back, there was an entry that made my blood run cold. "If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. Rick has been following me. I think he messed with my truck last night. I'm taking the evidence to the lawyer tomorrow. If I don't make it, so you know what to do." I closed the journal, my hand shaking. "Mom, he knew." She swallowed hard. "We have to finish this. For him." Over the next few days, Mom and I became detectives. We searched Dad's office and found a flash drive hidden under a drawer. Inside were files, bank statements, contracts, and even audio recordings of Rick threatening Dad. In one of them, Rick's voice was cold and low. "If you expose me, you won't make it to next week." Mom covered her mouth. "Oh my God! This is enough to put him in prison," I said, anger rising in my chest. But we couldn't go to the police yet. Rick had friends in law enforcement. If he got tipped off, we might be in danger. So we made copies of everything and gave them to Dad's lawyer with a clear instruction. "If anything happens to us, release it all." That night, I had another dream. Dad was standing at the crash site. His face was bruised, shirt torn, exactly how he looked the last time I saw him. He didn't speak. He just pointed at the broken guardrail where his truck had gone off the road. Then he pointed at me and behind me. I spun around in the dream and saw Rick's face, twisted with rage. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. "Zoe?" Mom ran in. I grabbed her hand. "We have to finish this soon. Dad's not going to rest until we do." The night before we planned to confront Rick, the house came alive. Lights flickered, doors slammed shut. Dad's chair rocked violently, as if someone invisible had shoved it. And then, from the garage, we heard the sound of tools clattering to the floor. When we went in, the journal was lying open on the workbench, at the page where Dad had written, "Don't wait too long. Rick will make his move first." Mom and I stared at each other. "This is a warning," she whispered. "We have to do it tomorrow." The next day, we set the trap. We planned a dinner and invited Rick, pretending it was just a family get-together. I set the table myself, every plate perfectly placed. My heart pounded the whole time. "What if he refuses to come?" I asked. Mom gave me a grim smile. "He'll come. He'll want to make sure we aren't onto him." And she was right. At 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there he was, Uncle Rick. He was smiling, but his eyes were cold. "Evening," he said casually, stepping inside. But when he looked around the house, his smile faded. He glanced at Dad's chair, still rocking ever so slightly, even though no one had touched it. "What's going on here?" he asked, suddenly tense. Mom appeared from the kitchen, her voice calm but steely. "Sit down, Rick," she said. "We need to talk." And just as he sat down, the lights flickered, once, twice, then went out completely. In the darkness, we heard Dad's boots. Step, step, step. Rick froze. "Who's there?" he barked. The lights came back on, and Dad's journal was now sitting in the middle of the table. The night my uncle sat at our dinner table, I saw fear in his eyes for the first time. But what happened next, the truth, the confession, and my father's final goodbye, will haunt me forever. The journal sat between us like a loaded gun. Rick's fake smile was gone. His jaw was tight, his hands gripping the edge of the table. "What is this?" he demanded. Mom didn't flinch. "You know exactly what it is. And you know why you're here." He narrowed his eyes. "If this is some kind of sick joke." "It's not a joke." I cut in, my voice steady. "It's proof of what you did to Dad." Rick laughed, a short, ugly sound. "You think you can accuse me of murder with a few scribbles and a notebook?" I slid the flash drive across the table. "And with these recordings, these bank statements, your text messages, your threats." His face went pale. "You don't have the guts to go to the police," he sneered. Mom's eyes were like steel. "Try us." The air in the room grew heavy, cold. The overhead light flickered again, and the sound of boots echoed in the hallway. Rick's head whipped around. What the hell was that? I smiled faintly. Dad doesn't like liars. The kitchen door slammed shut on its own. The chair across from Rick scraped forward, as if inviting him to sit properly. "All right," he shouted, panic creeping into his voice. "All right, fine. I did it. Your father was going to ruin me. He was going to take everything. I couldn't let him do that." His chest was heaving now. "He left me no choice." Rick muttered. "There's always a choice." Mom said coldly. That's when I pulled out my phone and showed him the screen. It had been recording since he walked in. "Smile for the camera, Uncle Rick," I said. "You just confessed." He lunged across the table for my phone, but before he could reach it, a crash echoed through the room. Dad's framed photo fell from the wall and shattered on the floor. Rick stumbled back, terrified. The front door burst open, and two uniformed officers stepped inside. "Rick Hensley," one of them said. "You're under arrest for the murder of Michael Hensley." The next few minutes felt like a blur. Rick cursed, fought, but they dragged him out in handcuffs. As the police car drove away, the house felt lighter, as if someone had opened a window after years of suffocating air. Mom sank into Dad's chair, tears streaming down her face. "It's over," she whispered. A week later, Mom and I visited Dad's grave. We placed the journal on the headstone, along with fresh flowers. "I hope you can rest now," Mom said softly. I closed my eyes, and for just a second, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Warm. Strong. When I opened my eyes, the wind rustled the grass, and I swore I heard his voice. "I'm proud of you, kiddo." And then the weight lifted. The rocking chair never moved again. The lights never flickered. Dad was finally at peace. I think you liked this interesting story. Please tell your answers in comment box, and hit the subscribe button for more interesting stories. Thanks a lot, my all friends. Bye bye.